The big toy week continues. Today it's Hasbro's turn. Hasbro Fan Fest reveals. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel as a week of reveals continue. April 9th, 2021, today was the day for Hasbro Fan Fest. Yesterday, Mattel released a ton of wrestling figure news. Well, today it's Hasbro's turn, and Hasbro came out gunning to mixed results. Personally, I'm going to give you my opinions on these. I'm going to discuss the stuff I'm interested in. We're going to talk a little bit of Marvel, Legends of course, Star Wars Black Series, G.I. Joe Classified. We'll also dabble a little bit of Transformers and Power Ranger talk in between that massive sandwich. So, like I said, these are going to be my opinions on these. These are my thoughts. I'll let you know what I'm picking up, what I'm passing on. Just a little conversation that goes through it. But here's my takes on the reveals, and we're going to start off hot. We're going to start with Marvel Legends. One of my favorite lines going today. I think more than most brands out there, the Marvel Legends team truly listens to the fans out there. I think they are more engaged with the fans as well. We all know wrestling, Jeremy Padawer doesn't get much more engaged than that. Steve, old action figure attack himself from Mattel, very involved with the fans. And then outside of wrestling, I truly believe Marvel Legends, Dwight and the team and all the other guys, they are involved with the fans. So I love to see that, and I love to see their passion coming through on the live streams and stuff like that. Because, you know, they're passionate about their toys, just like you and me, hopefully. I know I am. Hopefully you guys are as well. But Marvel, they started off interesting. They started off, gave us a little appetizer, I like to say. Got to build the suspense. But they started off with the Marvel 3 and 3 Force line figures. I was all out on those way back 6-8 months ago when those were announced. Did absolutely nothing for me. But I'm starting to warm up, folks. I'm warming up. You guys know, people of my age, I'm going to put you guys all in a bucket together. We're going to generalize. People of my age, a certain age, we grew up on the 3 and 3/4 scaled figures. I had the Marvel Secret Wars figures as a kid. You guys know I was all in on G.I. Joe and Star Wars as a kid. So I do have some connection to the 3 and 3/4 line. And we all know the Super 7 reaction figures are really hot. I think Marvel has capitalized on that, and they've done a really good job on these. The more I see these, the more I like them. But they announced Wave 3. Wave 1 hitting your targets right now. There are some Pulse exclusives out there. I think there's a GameStop exclusive, if I remember correctly. Wave 2 should be hitting very soon, but they showed off some of Wave 3. We got the Vision, we've got Invisible Woman, we've got Ant-Man, we've got a Gray Hulk, Green Hulk was in the last set, we got Bullseye as well, and then Cyclops. I almost forgot old Cyclops, leader of the X-Men. 3 and 3 Force line, kicking strong apparently in the Marvel Legends line. So I thought that was very interesting. I thought it was very interesting they kicked off with those. I tell you, my interest is peaked. I don't know. I need to get them in hand, maybe. I don't know. And then it comes down, do I open them or not? They're kind of made not to open, in my opinion, at least. I don't know. More to come on that, but they announced that. Then they dabbled a little bit in. We saw more updated pictures of Quasar. We all know that's coming as a Walgreens exclusive. That was announced, was that last year? Probably 2020. Quasar is going to continue the Walgreens. Coming this summer. Talked about it before. Quasar was kind of one of the joke the old Playground days. We always talk about the Playground on the channel. Quasar wasn't really taken serious as a superhero in my schoolyard. We always kind of joked. I remember when Quasar #1 came out in the 90s and everybody's like, oh, what is this? Who's getting Quasar? Oh, you probably read Quasar. But actually, this figure does look really good. Go great on your cosmic shelf. I love the detail on that cape, so I'm going to pick that one up. I'm very excited about that. They also touched on Nova, and I forgot to mention this in weekly purchases, as I filmed weekly purchases before I filmed this one. A little known fact there. So I didn't talk about it, we'll talk it now. Nova hitting EB Games up in Canada, so I have to think Walgreens in the next month, maybe 2 months tops, we're going to see that Nova out on the Walgreens shelves. Who knows? It could already start here in the next week or two, so be on the lookout for Nova. Then the Marvel Legends team hit us strong. I gotta be honest, a little bit of a mixed bag here, and that's probably because Iron Man is not my favorite. I'm an X-Men guy, I'm a Spider-Man guy, Punisher guy. Iron Man's alright, but he was not a top character for me. I forgot Captain America. I love Captain America too. Iron Man was a little farther down the rungs for me. So we do have an Iron Man wave. I don't know if they officially named this wave, but it is an Iron Man esque wave, I would say. But they started off hot announcing Ultron. We've seen pictures of that one before. We were not sure what wave that was going to go into, but Ultron is being released. So I know a lot of people will be happy to get that classic comic book Ultron, myself included. I did buy that Marvel Select one, which is a solid figure. I think there's room for both. As we know, Ultron has other robots. You can always kind of play that game on your shelf. I got to decide what I'm going to do there. We also saw the Vault Guardsman, an army builder. I don't know if he'll be a really hot seller. It depends if people are really going to get around army building a Vault Guardsman. I don't really see it personally in my circles, but we'll see what happens with the Vault Guardsman. Either way, it's okay. Who else did we see? We saw Translucent Iron Man, a very interesting character. I know a lot of people love that translucent stuff. I could go either way on it. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. When done right, it's done very well. When done poorly, it's done very bad. This one, all in blue, looks all right. I was okay with it. I'll be picking this whole wave up, and we'll get more into that at the end here at the talk. We also saw Stealth Iron Man. I remember the old Toy Biz one back in the day. I definitely passed on that. Didn't do a whole lot for me. I think there was even a early 90s Toy Biz, like Marvel Action Hour Toy Biz era Stealth Iron Man, if I remember correctly. It's all right. It's okay. I know a lot of people like this. It does come with a Tony Stark regular head for use for other Iron Man or use for that Iron Man, depending what you want to do. So that'll be in there as well. We also saw Iron Heart, which is a really cool one. Pinless joints, double jointed pinless joints, female figure. A lot of people have been asking for that, so that's going to make a lot of people happy. So we did get Iron Heart. We got Dark Star. That's a bit of a deep cut, I always think, but it sounds like they're going to flush that team out eventually. So Dark Star, always cool to get those kind of members. We also got the 90s Iron Man. That's what I always think of as Marvel Action Hour Iron Man, the 90s Toy Biz, early 90s. I had that back in the day. I really like the looks of that one. I'll definitely pick that up. I'm picking the whole wave up, but I really do like that. As far as Iron Mans go, that's probably one of my favorite Iron Man costumes, just because that's when I really got into Iron Man. I've never been hardcore into Iron Man, but that's really the time period I started to pay more attention to Iron Man, let's call it. So we're going to see that one out there. But then the big announcement for me was that Build-A-Figure. Holy cow, game changer. We talk about it on the channel all the time. What do I like? What does everybody like? We know what the kids out there, what the grown-ups, what the adults, what do we all want out there? We want a big figure. This one checks that box. Masked wrestler, masked figure, no, it doesn't hit that. Face-painted wrestler, face-painted figure, doesn't get that. But we know we love hair. We love hairy characters. We love the Chewbacca's of the world, the Sasquatches, the Wendigos. Well, we're getting a big old bear in Ursa Major. This is awesome. All new tooling. This is a game changer. This is going to be a centerpiece of my collection. This is the kind of stuff I love. These CD level characters, I mean, gotta be honest, this is not a top character. This isn't on the top of anybody's list for characters. But it's the perfect Build-A-Figure. A big bear. You could put this in your GI Joe display. Hey, Snake Eyes is out in the winterness, or in the winter, whatever you want to call it. Out in the snow. All of Honey comes across a bear. You can use this in a lot of things, including wrestling figures. They used to wrestle bears all the time back in the day. Set that up for a figure action shot. I love it. I love the inclusion of this one. I couldn't be more pumped. I couldn't be more excited. Bravo. And I think this is the key, is this isn't the strongest Marvel Legends wave we've ever seen. I think most would agree on that. Maybe not. At least that's my opinion. But you throw that bear in there, that's going to make people buy this whole set that maybe were not buying it before. So bravo, bravo. I love it. We also saw the Armored Bro Thor. You guys remember the Bro Thor Build-A-Figure from, was it a year ago? We always talk about the channel. Time has evaporated. I don't know my time anymore. Bro Thor was a really cool Build-A-Figure. I liked it a lot. Now we get Bro Thor in his armor. Looks like it's going to be a one standoff box set by itself. All of these items are up for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse. And then all the other retailers as well. Big Bad Toy Store, Amazon. Big Bad Toy Store, hit the old link in the below. Support the channel. I'll definitely be pre-ordering some of this stuff via them today as well. So excited about that. They also showed off, the night before there was a pre-party, they showed off the Sentinel, the HasLab Project Sentinel. You guys know I've been talking about this thing for the last year on the channel, basically. Excited about that Hasbro Sentinel. I'm a kid of the 90s. In the X-Men, Sentinels were everywhere. The animated series got a lot of love for the Sentinels. You know I had to jump in on this. I believe I have 4 Sentinels coming, if I remember correctly. 4 Sentinels. And man, this box is huge. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to move one of my Jeeps out of the garage just to put those things in there. But they showed the packaging. just next level. It's a thing of art, a thing of beauty. Where do you store these boxes? I don't know. I might store it out in the shed or up in the attic. I have 2 attics in my house, and I don't have anything in them. It's time. It's time to start storing stuff in the attic, I think. And a box like this is too good to throw away. You cannot. So I'm very excited about the Sentinel, obviously, but I'm cool that they're giving us little Easter eggs along the way. And that Sentinel is looking next level with the batteries in it, the lights, it's just next level. I feel bad for people that slept on it that are going to have to pay a fortune to get these, because these are going to be a game changer. I don't know if down the road they'll get re-released. I kind of doubt it, but you know, money talks. So maybe a couple years down the line that might happen. We'll see. They also teased a HasLab, the next HasLab. And I'm glad that's not similar to the Sentinel. They didn't announce it, they teased it, and I think it was pretty easy to figure out. They showed the Fantastic Four. Okay, that means Galactus is coming. It's time. People have been screaming for a big Galactus for a long time. Should be a lot bigger than a Sentinel, you would imagine. But this is one you don't have to army build. Instead of spending thousands of dollars for a few Sentinels, you should be able to buy one Galactus. But what will the price point be? $700, $800? I don't know. I guess due time we'll find out. I don't know when that'll be. They didn't really say much more than that. They just gave us a hint. But it leads me to believe Galactus, and I have to believe others believe Galactus as well. And then the final thing they left me with was the most exciting thing for me. Once again, kid of the 90s, reading X-Men comics in the 90s. I was all in on the Age of Apocalypse wave that came out last year. I absolutely loved it. That Sugar Man Build-A-Figure, one of the greatest Build-A-Figures of all time. You're not going to change my mind on that. A lot of people didn't like it because that's not an X-Men character or a segment they knew. They didn't read those comics. I totally understand that. I understand that. I feel that way with the House of M a little bit because it's all new to me. But I did buy some of those figures. I do really like a lot of those figures. But the Age of Apocalypse is something I am totally invested in, been invested in since the 90s. So to get a second series of those figures, I'm all in. And they showed us a picture of Sabretooth. It's going to be the biggest Sabretooth ever. Will it be the Build-A-Figure? I'm not sure. They didn't say. They kind of said, hey, it could be. It might not be. But more to come. So I have to think in the next few months we'll get some more leaks. But it's coming in 2021, so I have to think probably the fall time frame. We know that Age Apocalypse went to clearance in a lot of Walmarts and Targets. Kind of how I see the House of M headed. But we'll see. Hopefully the second series goes. But thank you for listening to the fans, putting that out there. Age of Apocalypse, I'm all in. I hope you guys are. I would love to see a Series 3 of those. But I don't want to get too greedy. We'll get Series 2 and we'll go from there. So that's the Marvel announcements. That was the big one of the day for me. And now we got to go into G.I. Joe. And there was some hits and some misses there. And I'm a die-hard Joe man. Alright, next up was the G.I. Joe reveals, and you guys know me, you watched my channel long enough, I hope. If you haven't, you better subscribe and keep watching the videos. I'm Mr. Positivity. I'm like a young Diamond Dallas Page. I try to keep things positive on the channel. I always try to see the good in everything I do, not just in toys, but my work life, everything else. Try to see the positive first. You become more successful that way, I've always felt, and that's what I try to do. And I'm going to try to do that when talking about this G.I. Joe classified line. Some people know, some people don't know, I'm not sure. G.I. Joe is my first passion. That was my first love. A lot of people think, Kyle, you're all in. Wrestling figures is your life. All that. I love wrestling. I do. I love wrestling figures. But G.I. Joe was my first love as a toy. And I've followed G.I. Joe ever since the early 80s when I got into G.I. Joe. And no line do I want to see succeed more than the G.I. Joe classified line. I've dreamed for years of a 6-inch scale G.I. Joe line. We're finally getting it, and it's driving me absolutely mad. I love what we're getting, and then there's just the peaks and valleys. It just seems, and it seems like they're stuck in a valley right now and they cannot get out. But let's talk about the reveals. We'll go at the beginning. They came off with all the role-playing stuff, and I get they have to promote that role-playing stuff. I just don't know if this is the video really to do that, but they were fairly quick about it. It was okay. Then they went from the role-playing stuff to the smaller size, well, not smaller size, 6-inch scaled, basically akin to WWE Mattel Basics. Toys for children. These aren't classified figures with all the articulation in the world. These are toys for children. And yes, once again, I don't think a lot of kids are watching these FanFest things. I guess parents are. Maybe they're looking for that. And maybe they're trying to flush out the video a little bit. That being said, I do not hate that they're putting these things in there. Because guess what? We want the G.I. Joe brand to continue. People like me, 40, 35 to, let's call it 50-year-olds. They are holding the G.I. Joe line together. We got it barely holding on. It's about ready to burst because people older than 50, they're out of the toy game for the most part. And if they're still in the toy game, they're probably not in the Joe game. You know, there's exceptions to every rule, but that's the case. People younger than 35, they've not really had a G.I. Joe to believe in. If you're going to say Sigma 6 made kids believe, I haven't met one of those kids yet that are all in on Sigma 6 or Sergeant Savage and Claw back in the early 90s, mid 90s. G.I. Joe has lost its way, and it's unfortunate. And people say, you know, Star Wars, Marvel, they should be pushing G.I. Joe just like them. Take that big step back. Joe Fan 82 and I had a G.I. Joe stream on his channel last Sunday. Go back and check it out. Joe Fan 82, great guy. Talking G.I. Joe, and love talking G.I. Joe. But we talked about that a little bit, is you're fooling yourself if you think G.I. Joe is even in the same ballpark as Marvel and Star Wars. It's just not. The kids aren't growing up believing that kind of stuff. They love Star Wars, they love Marvel, it's in their face. There's cartoons, there's different cartoons, movies, shows all the time. G.I. Joe's had a couple of start and stop animated series and a couple of movies that didn't really do the greatest. There was some glimmers of hope, but it's went away. But these new toys are what we need, really. Take that business step back. These new basics, akin to wrestling basic figures, is what's going to breathe life into G.I. Joe and hopefully keep it to continue. Maybe even funnel the money up. In the grocery industry, here's a perfect example. Kellogg's owns Keebler. Keebler cookies. We all know E.L. Fudge, the elf, and all that stuff. Well, guess what? Keebler doesn't make any money. Their cookies absolutely suck. Coming from an old Nabisco guy in a previous life. Anyways, Nabisco. Keebler has struggled. They haven't made money forever. What keeps them afloat? That's Kellogg's. Kellogg's and their cereals keeps the Keebler line afloat. I do look at this G.I. Joe Kitty Basic line. This is going to help keep that classified line afloat. If we can get kids going after that, kids into the Snake Eyes movie, kids buying these at the cheaper price point, guess what? That's going to be profitable for Hasbro. Some of those funds might get funded up to the classified line to keep that afloat. It all works together in unison. We need success across the board. You need all the success together to make one big success. They go together, and we need those kids wanting those early G.I. Joes to play with, that hopefully eventually, hey, they become teenagers, whatever, they're all in on the classified line. Or it just keeps the classified line going. That being said, they dropped the ball big time today. I want to be positive. They dropped the ball big time. Give us that Major Blood. It's been rumored forever. Why couldn't we have got an announcement on that today? Is it truly not exist? Is it just a myth? Is it a figment of our imagination? I don't know what's going on there, but all they showed was classified movie line figures. Very disappointed in that. We got Snake Eyes, we got Storm Shadow, we got Baroness, we got Scarlet, Akio, a new character that's been invented for this movie. What are we doing? I don't write movie scripts, but sometimes I do in my part-time life. I don't know. I don't write movie scripts. But why would you not put Jinx in that role? I don't care if it doesn't fit in. She's a character we know. There's so many characters out there that are beloved in the G.I. Joe universe. Pick one of them. Put somebody in there. Instead of making a new character up, put Jinx in there. I don't know. I'll see the movie. I got to. July 23rd, I believe they said that's coming out. I'll check it out. I'll see it. I'll watch it. I'll give my review. I don't know. But I didn't want all movie figures. Give me something else. Give me at least a throwback to the classified line. And these are in classified S packaging. I didn't catch it and I didn't see it, but I didn't see any numbering on the sides. For my sake, and probably everybody else that's watching this video, I hope they number these figures differently as a movie line figures. That's going to give some people some breath of fresh air not to have to buy that to be complete on the classified lines. That being said, I will probably buy one of these. I just don't know if I can double up. You guys know I buy two. One to open, one to keep in the package. I don't know if I can do that with these. I'm just not invested. That Storm Shadow, everybody's wanted Storm Shadow. Then we get this off-white Storm Shadow that just looks like a plain white ninja in a bathrobe. I don't know. I want to be positive about it until the movie comes out. But I wanted more out of these reveals. If they would have thrown Major Blood in there or just another regular classified character that we want, I think there would have been a lot better positive reception. I'm filming this literally as this went. I haven't read any feedback, anything. I haven't seen anything. This is my thoughts on this. But man, G.I. Joe, I wanted to win the most today, and I don't think they did. I think they were at the bottom of the barrel. I get it. They got to push that movie. I get it. They got to promote the kids stuff. I totally get it. But man, throw a bone to the people that brought you to the dance. We brought you to this far. The collectors like me, the hardcore Joe fans that have been there since the 80s. Give us something. Give us one thing. Give us one thing to hold out hope with. And I feel like they didn't do that. So hopefully More to come on the G.I. Joe line. Hopefully we get Major Blood. Hopefully we get all these. Hopefully I get my Flint and Lady J any day now, and I just turn that frown upside down, because you guys know I need that Flint. Probably my most wanted figure. No, probably in this. That is my most wanted figure in 2021. Give me that Flint. So I don't know. It was an interesting day in the G.I. Joe camp. I don't know what happened. We talked about those little kids line. That Ninja, the Creeper, maybe you can army build that and have some smoke and mirrors in the background, but there wasn't a lot for the hardcore collector today in G.I. Joe. So there it is. That was G.I. Joe. Now let's talk about some of the other two in between. We'll talk Transformers and Power Rangers real quick before we finish up with Star Wars. All right, next up, let's talk a little Transformers. It'll be quick, as I am not all in on Transformers. I'm still kind of confused where my love of Transformers is and where it relates to me with toys. As you guys know, I've complained about the scale of Transformers in the past. I've sold collections, I bought collections, I've started over. I just struggle. I really struggle. But today we got to see Rodimus Prime. This was leaked a few weeks back from Japan, actually. But Rodimus Prime, big Rodimus Prime to go along with that Hot Rod. I don't know. I might have to get this one. I like Hot Rod. I'm of the age that was okay with Hot Rod. Kids a couple of years older than me, they were not a fan of Hot Rod. They were all in Optimus Prime. I liked both. So there it is there. But Rodimus Prime, big figure. I think I might have to get that. We also saw Galvatron, another one from the Transformers movie. Big figure again, a popular character from the movie, so I almost think I gotta get those. Then we saw Beast Wars. We saw some other stuff that I don't know about, I don't really care about, to be honest, so I'm not going to share and talk about those. But the thing that really stole my heart and still hasn't let go, they announced, with the help of Jay and Silent Bob themselves, a new Transformer, a big one. I mean, it's probably about this big. That's kind of how I guessed it. But it was an Autobot Optimus Prime that transformed with voice commands. We've seen voice command toys like that Yoda that spins around and he does commands and stuff. We've seen things like that in the past. This is truly a game changer. This is a big Optimus Prime that you can talk to. He'll talk back. He'll do stuff. He will change into his truck mode. He'll change from out of it. He'll walk around. Truly an amazing toy. We've seen that a lot from Hasbro. I referenced the Yoda. We've seen the Deadpool head. They've done some very, very cool things, and this Optimus Prime is definitely the coolest one. All in. All in. I thought, hey, I'm buying this. I'm going to pre-order this today. I figured this will probably be around $200. That Deadpool head was about $100. This is does a little bit more stuff. It'll be $200. $699. I about fell out of my chair. That's more than Unicron, if I remember right. That is an expensive toy at this point. I don't know if that expensive. Is it still classified as a toy at that point? I am not buying that for $700. As much as I want it, as cool as it is, I just have no justifications there. Because what happens with those kind of toys, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, you play with them, you show your friends, you show your family, look what he can do. He can do all this kind of stuff. Then after, let's call it a month. After a month, he's just a big action figure standing on your shelf. You're not going to have him constantly on and doing stuff and playing with him and doing all the voice commands. You're just not going to do that kind of stuff. It's just not the way it works, and that's what I've always seen. So that's a lot for just an action figure, $700 sitting there. I mean, there's going to be shipping. Well, I guess shipping's free if you're a Hasbro Pulse member, but you got tax on that, stuff like that. That is, as cool as it is, I'm not paying $700 on it, but man, that thing is amazing. That is exactly what I want out of my Transformers, but I don't want that price point, so you just take the good and the bad. But wow, that thing blew me away, and I think that was the thing that blew me away the most for the day. That was just amazing. Just seeing the transform, doing all those things, that was the coolest toy. Kudos to whoever designed that. I just wish they could have kept the price point down. Maybe make it down to like the $300 price point, but man, $700. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a good car payment right there. So I just don't know if anybody's willing to do that. Maybe if Optimus Prime, if I could get inside and drive him around, or if he did the dishes, maybe I would pick it up at that price. But for that was it for me, really, for Transformers. They also showed the Ark, which is very interesting. We all know the Ark, kind of the base of the Transformers. They're making that in figure form, an updated one. Looks really cool, Teletran 1, all that kind of stuff, but just not for me. As much as I like that era of Transformers, I'm just going to have to pass on that one. So that's just the way it's going to go, unfortunately. So there it is. But then we saw Power Rangers, and I dabble. You guys know we talk about dabbling on the channel a lot. We saw the Power Ranger reveals. Not a lot for me there. And honestly, there's not a lot for me with the Power Rangers world to go. There really isn't. Maybe some monsters out there, and that's about it. And I'm going to dabble at that point. I was really disappointed with that King Sphinx figure. I was so angry in that review video. It really turned me off on a lot of Power Rangers stuff. I know our old outlaw friend, Waylon Jennings, he's all in. He loves the Power Rangers, so he was excited. They announced the blue, the black, the red, and the yellow in the metallic color scheme for the Power Rangers. You guys might remember back to Hasbro Pulse Fest back was in October. They put up for pre-order, and I think it shipped in December, right around Christmas time, the Pink Ranger in the metallic. And I did pick that one up for reasons unknown to me. I do have that one. So now they got the rest of the matching team. Very smart, getting the most out of your molds, getting the repaints out there. I get it. Just not for me. I'm all out, and I might even sell that Pink Ranger. I don't know. So I was a little disappointed in that reveal, but there's a lot of people that love Power Rangers. That's their bread and butter. That's what they love. They're excited for this. So I don't want to, you know, jump all over their excitement because I get it. Everybody has different opinions and different things they collect. I mean, it makes sense. So, but that wasn't for me. They also, what do they call him here? Tyrannosaurus Sentry. Apparently involved with Lord Dracon. I believe this is comic book inspired. I don't go down that rabbit hole. Waylon Jennings does, and I think he said he was all in. He was getting maybe multiples of these. That's how much he was into this one. So good for the Ranger fans out there. I think there was a lot more for the Ranger fans that are hardcore fans than me, possibly. I know there was a lot of talk about Yellow Ranger Aisha. You guys remember Aisha, probably. There was a lot of excitement, it seemed to be, on the Fan Fest about getting Aisha in figure form, finally. So good for those people that are looking for that. But once again, really nothing there for me. So there it is. That's the Transformer Power Ranger talk. Pretty brief. Not a lot for me. Just some things here and there. All right, let's finish the video off with a little Star Wars talk. All right, Star Wars finished the panel discussions for the day, and they came out pretty strong. I think outside of Marvel Legends, they were possibly the strongest one. G.I. Joe, I wanted to believe were going to lead the pack, but as we said, they just didn't. So Star Wars came in pretty hot, and they came in hot with the Vintage Collection to start the video off. Vintage Collection, there's a lot of hardcore Vintage Collection people out there. I get it, I understand it, I absolutely love the card back. I'm just not in a position personally to collect them all on card, so I want them opened, and that defeats the purpose of the Vintage Collection. So it ends up being a lot of passes for me in here. But they showed off some new ones to come this fall, and they showed Luke in a Hoth gear. You guys know I love Hoth. It's beautiful this time of year. We talk about it a lot. Hoth is awesome, but Luke in Hoth gear, how many of those do I already have? I'm going to have to see that in person to justify if I need another loose one. I think at this point on the channel, we've unboxed 4 different Luke and Hoth gears, and I think I have more to go. I don't need any more, so I think I'm okay passing on this. Same thing for Han Solo, of course. Is there another Han out there? I don't think so. Han Solo in his Endor jacket coat in the 3 3/4. I have some of those already. My 3 3/4 line of Star Wars, I gotta really be selective because I have so many of them. I don't need doubles unless they're army builders or vast improvements, so I can skip this one. But there was 2 they showed that I'm not skipping, and that was the red Royal Guard, the Emperor's Royal Guard, with removable helmet and a face underneath. Man, sign me up all day for that. I have tons of those Royal Guards, like 10 of them. And I'm going to put those all together in an army building scene. But if I could get one with his helmet off as like the King Royal Emperor Guard, man, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm definitely picking that one up. And then you guys know I'm going to have to get this one. I'll get him loose. I'll get him on card. One of my favorites of all time. We actually unboxed this basically same figure in the 3 3/4 Black Series line not too long ago. But it's that old Admiral. That old Admiral Akbar coming in hot for the holidays. He's going to be on the shelves for the holidays, making every kid's Christmas just joyous, a joyous occasion. Poor Santas all over the nation this year are going to say, little Jimmy, what do you want for Christmas? You know I need that Admiral Akbar Vintage Collection, Santa. And that's what's going to happen. So I'm happy to see the Admiral get a figure whenever it is. 6-inch, 3 3/4, 2-inch, I don't care what size. Sign me up on the Admiral. I'll pick him up for sure. Then they showed Vintage Collection, the long-rumored Gaming Greats Vintage Collection. Doesn't do anything. Just like the Black Series for me, I'll get those if I get a deal at GameStop or there's a clearance event, something like that. I might pick one of those up, and I've lived by that rule and stuck to that rule. And the 3 3/4 line is going to do gaming greats. Star Wars Battlefront, all that kind of stuff. I don't play any of those games. I don't have a connection to the character. A lot of repaints. And the first one we saw was the battle droid in kind of that brownish, rustish color armor. Doesn't do anything for me. But if I can find it for clearance real cheap, I'll pick it up. I'll throw it with my other battle droids. That's about all I'm going to do there. We also saw a Shadow Stormtrooper. Same thing. Kind of, if I find it clearance, maybe I'd pick that one up. Then there was that dreaded Scout Trooper. Probably the worst unboxing we've ever done on the channel. The Star Wars Black Series Scout Trooper. I was so furious. I was like, it has this cord that connected the arm. Broke on me in the review. And I even talked. I said, I don't understand this. It limits the range of motion. This thing could break really easy. About 10 seconds later, the thing broke on me. So now they're going to do it in 3 3/4 so it can break in a whole new scale. That sounds great to me. But I'll pass on that one for sure. And then we saw the Electro Staff Purge Trooper. Another one I've never heard of. Looks like a cool figure. Hey, if it's on clearance, maybe I'll pick it up. But I'm not paying full price for a video game figure. I don't care what size it is. It's just the way it's going to go. We also saw a vintage collection to round out the vintage collection talk. Antok Merrick's Rogue One X-Wing. So we're getting a repainted X-Wing back in the vintage collection from the ever-popular Rogue One movie. One of the best Star Wars movies, if not the best, really. It's tough to pass up Empire for me. But Rogue One's a pretty good movie. So they're releasing that. So that's going to come in the fall as well. I got to assume that's a $100-some price point vehicle, I'm sure, like they usually are. So that's coming out. But then the thing I get most excited about in the Star Wars universe is the Black Series figures. This 6-inch scale Black Series. You know, they previewed some of these at the last, what was it, January, I think. They said, hey, here's what's coming down the pipeline. Here's what we're going to see next. It was interesting they didn't do that this time and say, here's what you're going to see down the line next. But they showed those figures off. We got to see Lando Calrissian, General Lando. Interesting one with soft goods cape. You guys know I'm just waiting for the day and age I get to start wearing a cape and it's socially acceptable to wear a cape every day. I'll be like a young Lando Calrissian. It's got to come back sometime. We saw Aura Singh from the Clone Wars. A cool figure, one I really want. The Bounty Hunters Guild with Boba Fett, all that kind of stuff. I think they commented about her antenna being a little too long. Very interesting discussions there. But that's a good one. I'll pick that one up. We also saw the missing member of the Bad Batch, Old Tech. So that's coming out as well. So that's cool to complete that team. I got to think that Bad Batch figures will be even more popular once the cartoons launch on Disney+. We also saw Mandalorian line, the droid Zero. So that's coming out. And I think that'll appease some Mandalorian fans out there. Deepish cut from the Mandalorian, I guess you'd say. Kind of. And then we saw Casca Reeves, as we all know, Sasha Banks, crossing the world over like a young rock, getting figures in G.I. Joe. Now we got Sasha Banks getting figures in Star Wars and flushing out some of that Mandalorian madness. So that's a cool one. I thought I liked that a lot. They also discussed the Razor Crest a little bit. It's coming along, you know, just kind of that kind of stuff. They weren't as good as the Marvel where they showed the box and stuff. They just said, hey, it's coming along. Here's some product pictures. There it is, the Razor Crest is coming. And then they finished it with a little fan vote in the vintage collection for you vote for a figure to come in 2022. And we saw Osaka Tano, we saw the Republic Trooper, we saw the Assault Tank Driver from Rogue One, which we just opened in the Black Series recently on the channel, Star Killer, and then Weequay. If you're not voting Weequay, what are you doing? We need more Jabba's people in there. I have Weequay though, but this is one, really have a fondness back to my childhood. I might have to pick up a Weequay. I hope he wins. That's who I'm voting for. And that's who I recommend you guys vote for as well. So there it is. Another day of reveals. Hasbro Fan Fest. I enjoy these kind of things. They're exciting. It's just, they didn't give me all the meat I wanted. To me, the clear winner was the Marvel Legends team. They knocked it out of the park. They always do. They brought excitement to a Iron Man wave that doesn't get me really excited, but putting that Build-A-Figure in there and the presentation of it all, and then announcing Age of Apocalypse Series 2, giving us a nice peek of the Sentinel in the box, I think Marvel Legends truly won the day. Followed up with Star Wars. They gave us a lot of details in Star Wars. Vintage collection people have to be happy. We're getting more figures. They get a vote. They got a new X-Wing coming. Black Series got some really cool looking figures. I can't wait for that wave. They were the clear number 2 for me. After that, it was probably a heap together. Transformers, Power Rangers, G.I. Joe. I'm going to say G.I. Joe gets third just because I'm such a G.I. Joe fanboy out there. But man, I want my movie figures. I don't want my movie figures. I don't know what I want, but I want the old school Joes. That's all we all want. Put those make them a subline, do something different with it, but get us the classified figures. You see Star Wars announcing 6 new Black Series figures. That's how G.I. Joe needs to be. We need, hey, here's 5 ones coming this month. 3 months, 4 months later, you're getting these 5. That's what we need to get to. I don't know what's hindering them to get to that point. I don't understand. It goes back to what I said earlier, though. We're fooling ourselves if we think G.I. Joe is Marvel. We're fooling ourselves if we think G.I. Joe is Star Wars. There's not the money behind them. There's not the fan support behind it to those levels. There is for me. There is for a lot of you guys out there. But we got to call a spade. And Star Wars Marvel Legends are up here. G.I. Joe's down here. And I think we see that in Hasbro's budget, Hasbro's tooling. They're going to take care of the big two, and we'll see what follows in there. Even Transformers has a bigger fan base than G.I. Joe. Power Rangers, I'll argue you on Power Rangers. But Power Rangers is coming up. They have not left the world since the early 90s. They've never stopped. G.I. Joe's had so many starts and stops. Power Rangers, new teams. They transition members. They've done a great job. So I don't know. Younger generation, they would vote Power Rangers all day long over G.I. Joe. It's just the 34 to 50-year-olds that are hanging tight to the G.I. Joe. We got to get those younger kids involved, and I hope that basic series brings that to the point. We'll see. A lot of we'll sees, but all this stuff will be up for pre-order. Amazon's, Hasbro Pulse, the usual suspects, and of course my preferred supplier, Big Bad Toy Store. Link in the description below. Go down there, order something, support the channel, and all that fun stuff. So for a wild and wacky day of toy reveals from the Hasbro Fan Fest, and hopefully you saw yesterday's Mattel reveal video, a lot of good news, a lot of good stuff coming. It's all going to be a crazy expensive year in 2021 in the toy game, and we wouldn't want it any way different. So there it is. So for the Hasbro Fan Fest reveals, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.